Good day, and welcome to A Place Called Through. We're broadcasting live today from WYTV7, Christian Broadcasters Network. We're here today to share an uplifting and a powerful story of one of life's challenges, addicted to crack cocaine. But thankfully, we're saved by grace. This story is being shared today by none other than Minister Michael Howard. Minister Howard has been addicted, but he is now saved. And we share these kind of stories at a place called Through, where there is hope, where we share our mission of hope. We ask that you today consider making a donation to help us continue making this program available to you at WYTV7. We welcome to you, Mr. Howard, to a place called Through to share your life changing testimony. Minister Howard, welcome to a place called Through.
Wow, thank you, Sister Dawn, Sister Dawn. It's a honor and a pleasure to be on WYTV7 Christian Broadcast Network. I'm so honored for y'all to have me to share my testimony on this morning. And like I'm gonna start off with I'm the oldest of four. Let me go back just a little bit. I've been married for going on 14 next month to be 14 years with my wife Linda. I coach 12 and under football in Pembroke and Bryant County for 8 years. And my mother and my father was in church. My father got saved up under my grandmother, which was my mother's mother. She started back in 1920. She got ordained back in 1920 in Macon, Georgia. She was an ordained deaconess, Sister Mattie Bird. Next month, the church will be 100 years old in Bryan County. Let me go back to my father. I think we had three. It was three before I came along. It was a son, a girl, Renee, and the last one, John Howard Jr. He was born, but in the midst of it, one of the nurses left him on his back, and he choked to death. And it was another lady along with my mother that she couldn't have no more kids. It was my mother and this other lady that was where were having the babies at. The nurse made a mistake and left both of the babies on their back, and both of the babies choked to death. So my dad kind of got, both of them was kind of real, just, he went into a little depression. And my dad written on Roberts. He written on Roberts, because he was when he was telling me about it, it was like back to back. He said he didn't know what was going on and what God wanted him to do, but he written Oral Roberts, and Oral Roberts written him back, and Oral Roberts told him, he said, Evangelist Howard, when you have the son, it's gonna be a boy. He said, give him back to the Lord, and he said, anoint him with, oil and pray while your wife is in pregnancy. So my dad got the letter back, and just like my dad was telling me, he said, son, looked like the devil was trying to take you from us, and you had a fight before you even got here. And he said he was getting out, we was getting out, going to the store, and my mother got out the car and she fell face first. And he said he ran and picked her up, and he's asked, well, you all right? You all right? She said, yes, I'm all right. But dad took her right on to the hospital, to the emergency room, and the doctor said, she was all right. Everything was all right. And my dad told me, he said, well, son, when you was born, you had rings around your wrists, you had rings around your ankles. He said, you was bow-legged. We thought we had to put braces on you. He said, I kept your legs down with oil, kept your legs anointed with oil. And he said, you was faced with challenges before you even come into this world. And with that, he says, it's anointing in your life. But I never really really understood it, you know, what he was talking about. You know, I was in my, what, 8, 7, 8, 9, I was right along in there, and I never did understood what he was talking about. But as I got older and started experiencing life, that's when I start understanding what he was telling me. When he so many times, I mean, we had a car wash, and he always said, you know, he told my mother, he said, mother, he said, bed, in the bed, I want you to teach them girls how to be women. I'm going to teach Michael how to be a man. We had a car wash, and he taught me how to save my money. I bought my school clothes every summer. And he was, oh my God, he was amazing, amazing father. So as I got a little bit older, I wanted my own, want to start making my own money. So I started at this job after school that I had when I became a junior. I started working at this restaurant, and that's where I met her. That's where I met this young lady at.
So
Um,
you, as that time, that's when you started working outside the family business. And
yes, ma'am. I want to help my dad. When I wasn't working at the restaurant after school, I want to help him then. So that's when I met this other lady. She was 25. I was 19. I had just graduated. Right on to I graduated. And supposedly I went to college, Art Institute in Atlanta. Everything went good. Everything went straight. I got the loan, the student loan. I got a place to stay. I mean, the only thing it was for me just going. And with with the love, like, oh my God, love, LOVE. That's one word that, by me being a pastor's son, you know, grew up in church and never experienced the outside life besides church, besides going to school, church, and back home, and never experienced the outside life. And when I got a taste of that street life, and I said, oh, okay, now I see what Daddy was talking about. Because he was so protective of us. I didn't start going out until I was 16.
so when you got outside, that's when you felt love in a different way, as opposed to what you knew from your family.
Exactly. I had the love from the family, but that other kind of love, you know what I'm talking about. I met her, and they used to do transactions right there in the kitchen where I worked at. This lady and this other lady. They just do transactions in, and me and my other best friend, he was the bus boy. And I used to say, Greg, come here. I said, you see that? I said, something ain't no bigger than an aspirin. You're paying $20 for something ain't no bigger than an aspirin. And I said, I can't see myself just spending my money on something that is nonsense, you know? So every Friday, that's what they was doing. Um, so I asked this guy, and you know, he was married. He asked the guy, so I asked him, I said, sir, what is this thing called crack? You know, he said, what? He said, who do you know doing that? Big man used to call me Big Man. He said, Big Man, who you know doing that? I said, somebody I'm seeing. He said, oh man, you don't mess around with that. You do not want to mess around with that. He said, let me come in, let me show you something. So he went in the trash can, he got a Coca-Cola can. He got a knife, he pushed it together, and he stuck holes in it. He stuck holes in it. He was a smoker, cigarette. So he said, come on outside. So I went on outside. He said, this is what they do. He said, he put ashes on this can, and that thing that you saw, that little thing ain't no bigger than aspirin, you say, they put it on the can. And he said, they smoke it. He said, dude, he said, don't mess with that, don't mess with that girl. And I said, wow. So when I went back, you know, got off it early that, no, got off. I went back to her house. I'll go over there when I get off. She always had somebody in the room. Always had somebody in the room. Always had somebody in the room. She had 2 kids. I'd be in the front talking with the kids, laughing and talking. So one night I said, you know, I know what you're doing in that room. And I told him what that gentleman told me. And so later on that night, she went in the room. Her kid was over to her grandma's house. She came out. Then she brought back a bottle, a plastic Coca-Cola bottle. You can take a cigarette and burn a hole in it and take something, a plastic piece of a pen or either something metal and stick it through. or you can take gum and stick it around it where it won't leak. In other words, I mean, where it won't catch air. You take some aluminum foil, put a rubber band around it, then you know, there's so many ways you can make a device to smoke, to smoke with. So she told me, she said, inhale this. I didn't feel nothing. In the videos and the other people say that first hit you hooked. No, I wasn't. That wasn't the night that I was hooked. The night that I got hooked was this gentleman he drove trucks. He drove trucks and he said, "How came me to get my truck after I got off? Came me to go get my check." Came out to his boss man and got his check. He had a $900 check, cashed it, came back, brought $500 worth of crack, laid it down out there on the dresser, cut it all up. That's the night I got hooked.
But crack cocaine, it's just a substance of boiling water and adding baking soda.
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
that not correct? And once it's boiled, it got the name crack because it makes a crackling sound as it's boiling. And then once it's boiled down, it's just formed into little balls. And it is also known that crack cocaine is something that you can either, as you said, it enters through your nostrils, or you can do it by smoking it. But what's amazing to that point, the damage crack cocaine does to your brain, it also destroys your nose passages and your throat passages. And I think that, crack cocaine, it is very deadly. But at the end of the day, there is hope for this addiction, as we'll later learn from you. And, you continue with your testimony of your addiction to this crack. So you met this lady, and it's obvious that you formed a relationship with this lady who now has you hooked onto the crack cocaine. I understand that in research too from crack cocaine, it's just a high that lasts for a few minutes. It doesn't last for a long time. Is that not correct?
That's true. And that's what you chase. That's what you're chasing. That's exactly what you're chasing. You're chasing that first high. It's something that, oh man, it's kind of hard to describe.
Well, it's a high that only lasts for 15 minutes that gets you so hyped up, but then it lets you back down, and then you begin to experience the fatigue, I guess the withdrawal from not being able to continue in that format. 1 minute you're hungry, the next minute you're not. You no longer want that desire for food or anything else because you're seeking still yet to come back into this other high. And so you've already had that first experience, and as you just stated, it wasn't doing anything for you. So you wanted to go back again and get that next high.
Yes, ma'am. And we smoked until it was gone. And that's the night that I got hooked. And it's like you said, Sister Going, you're chasing it. You're chasing it, you're chasing it, you're chasing it. And when my first thing she was saying, no, everybody hate me. What they gonna think of me now? I said, you know what? It's my choice. I want, like I said, love will make you do, oh my God, love will make you do some crazy things. So when my father found out, my uncle was telling my father, but he didn't believe it. So one day I got this can and whatever, and after I got through, I put it in my closet. And like, my sisters like wearing my clothes. So they went in my room, finding something to wear, finding my shirt, something to wear, and stumbled upon that can. So when I came home, I came in there and said, son, sit down. I sat down and he said, I never in my born, this is his exact word, never in my born days, I never thought you'd have done what you done. He said, I've been hearing it, but I didn't want to believe it. He said, son, something was in your room. And I said, oh God. I said, oh God, they found that can. So I said, how do you know it was in there? He said, my sister said, well, I was in there. I said, what you doing in my room? You had no business in my room. So my dad said, just be quiet and listen. So I'm just listening. And so all the years I never seen my dad cry. So he was telling me, he said, son, I was a drinker, but I never had nothing that'll make me spend all my money. He said, I never in my life would have thought you got hooked on, So he started crying. And boy, it really, me and my dad was close. It really, 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 really got next to me. So after he got through talking, I left. I just purely left. I left. And out of all this whole ordeal, the worst person I really hurt was my father. He never lived to see me get myself straight. So many times I came back home, I give them money to hold for me. I come back around about 1, 2, or 3 o'clock in the morning, want my money back, and I have to wait about 30 minutes because he's going to give me a lecture before he give me my money back. I'm standing up there saying, just give me my money back, But I got standing there, and he wound up giving it back to me. I go back out there in the way in midnight in the morning, driving way in the night. I never thought I would never get put over by the police, but everybody used to get me to drive because it didn't bother me. Everybody be so paranoid when they start smoking, so I'd be the only one driving. A lot of times I get my drugs through that. People want me to take them somewhere, and they'll give me, drugs to get big man, here you go, because it never bothered me when I was driving. So it was bad. It was really bad. It really got bad when my daddy died. He was diagnosed with diabetes. He had cataracts. He had a cataract surgeon. He was on a dialysis machine. He was in the hospital. He went into a seizure when it came. He seen all of us graduate. The 2 weeks before my 2 sisters graduated, he went into a seizure, and he caught pneumonia, and they transferred him down in the morgue in Savannah. And this other young lady that I was with, my son's mother, she kept trying to get me to go. I didn't go. Smoking when I got my check. So I finally got the nerve to go. So when I did finally go, when I walked into that hospital room, when I seen my dad was like, oh my God, he had done lost so much weight. And I stepped back out, and I just went crying. I said, Lord, I'm not coming back. If you don't send him home, I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back down here. So when my father finally got out 2 weeks before my 2 sisters graduated, I came back home getting ready to go to work. He called me in the room. He said, son, come in and sit. Let me talk to you. I went in the room. He said, why didn't you come see me when I was in the hospital? I said, Mama didn't tell you? He said, no, Betty didn't tell me. They said, why didn't you come see me? I said, Dad, I did come see you. One time when I told God, if he didn't send you home, I was not coming back. Then he started telling me, he said, son, let me tell you something. He said, never let your life come down to the hands of doctors. He said, son, you gotta stop what you're doing. It's killing you slowly but surely. He said, it was something blocking me. And he said, God allowed me a chance to get it right. He said, I had to talk some things over with your mother. And he said, I done talked that things over with your mother. He said, I feel brand new. He said, I feel brand new. And when I seen him do that, I said, oh God. So many times I heard him talk, I knew he wasn't gonna be here long. So he was saying, I feel brand new. He said, son, he was telling me, son, you got to stop what you're doing. You got to stop what you're doing. So 2 weeks later, my father passed.
Okay.
I was getting high the day that he passed. I couldn't even cry because I was high.
So the crack cocaine had interfered with your emotional state as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, we're going to take a station break, and then we're going to come back and continue talking about your dad and the effects of your addiction on your family. We'll be back shortly. For my listeners and my viewers, stay right there to us at A Place Called Through on WYTV7 Christian Broadcasters Network. Hi, I'm Patricia Wade Goings. I'm the host of A Place Called Through. We broadcast live on WYTV7 Christian Broadcasters Network. I'd like to invite you to be my guest to share your story of life challenges that it often presents to us, the hardships, the trials, but we know that there's a testimony in going through God's purpose for your life. We invite you to be the guest at A Place Called Through to share your wonderful story. Help us inspire and encourage others with our mission of hope. Again, be my guest at A Place Called Through. To do so, you may reach me at area code of 843-608-9744 You can also reach me by email at keepgoingwp@gmail.com. You may follow me also on Facebook at a place called Through at Willpower, the call to rise above. Willpower, your call to rise above, getting through. You may find us also at WYTV7.org. Remember, you're invited to be our guest at a place called Through. Help inspire one another. And welcome back to a place called Through. We're sharing today a story and a testimony from Minister Michael Howard, addicted to crack and saved by grace. Minister Howard has been telling us about his addiction from an early age. He was addicted to crack cocaine. Crack cocaine is a deadly addiction, as it does kill thousands and thousands. Is it an addiction that can cause harm physically and mentally? Minister Howard has shared with us the effects of it on his family. He had a close family relationship, and his father was a follower of Oral Roberts' ministry. And it was prophesied way back then that he would be someone that had significant things to do in life. But in doubt and going out into the world, he learned differently. He fell in love with someone who was already using crack cocaine, and they used this against him to draw him in. As many addictions, it draws you in, it sucked him into a place. So now he's going through his place called Through. And now we're going to learn further about the effects of this crack cocaine addiction on him and his family. And follow this, we'll come into Saved by Grace. Returning back to Minister Howard. Minister Howard, your father became ill, and of course that had great impact on your family. So tell us now about the impact that your father's illness had on the family, as well as it related to yourself, because you relied a lot on the teachings of your dad.
Yes, ma'am. And a lot of the teachings that he, through the years, down through the years that he taught me, he stayed with me. It was a great strain on my mother going back into to Savannah and back into to Savannah. And he, like I said, he passed 2 weeks after my two sisters had graduated. And I used to hear him say, always want to live to see all my kids graduate. And and life and death is the power of that tongue. And when he lived to see all of us graduate. And the day of the funeral, I spoke at his funeral, and I sung one of his songs he always sang before he got up, before he started preaching. And I felt the Holy Spirit come upon me, and I felt everything. I mean, it was like a weight fell off of me. And I knew that was the Holy Spirit. And right after we left the grave site and everything, instead of me being there with my mother and my family, I went to my job, got my check, cashed it. I had my son. My son wasn't born then. I came back and cashed it and got high. I got high. Didn't come back till later on that evening, where I should have been with my family. And I wasn't high, but I was trying to get high because, like I said, something come over me when I was speaking at my dad's funeral. Something came over me. And I told the Lord, I said, Lord, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for this yet. I'm not ready. I know what it was. I said, no, I'm not ready for this Holy Ghost thing yet. I'm not ready for this. So I cursed. And you think Peter cursed. Lord, I cursed. I said, Lord, I'm not ready. I don't want it. And who in their right mind don't want to be saved? But right then, I was not ready. So it took 3 days for that Holy Spirit to come off me, which he did not take his hands off of me. And when that third day, that's when I start feeling that high again. I start feeling that high again. And right along with that, I got so out there. I was reaching for help, pleading for help. I used to see people in the churches that I grew up. I used to wave at them, then wouldn't wave back. And I said, Lord, what did I do to them? All these people I grew up in church with, they're looking at me like I'm a bad seed or something. I said, I just made a mistake, just made a mistake. I used to just wave, hi, and they just look at me and they turn their head. I said, oh my God, I used to, after I get through smoke, I used to lay in bed and just cry and cry and cry and say, Lord, what did I, I always, why did this happen to me? I always mind my mother, my parents, and you let this mess come upon me. I mean, something that I didn't even ask for, just because I love trying to help somebody. My dad always taught me to help somebody. I'm
Well,
trying to help.
let me interrupt you right there. Let me go back to the woman that introduced you to this. Where is she and what role does she have in this part now that your father has passed on? Were you still in a relationship with her?
Right about then, she was in a halfway house. She had went to prison for about a year. And she went to the halfway house after that. And after that, she was out for my dad's funeral.
And you mentioned you're a son. So was this the mother of your son?
No, ma'am. This was another relationship.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. This was another
And so
relationship.
she went away and she got herself cleaned up. Are you still communicating with her? What has changed in her life? So
Right now she's saved. She's saved, and we did make amends. I had to come to her because I didn't realize it. I was blaming her. I was blaming her for everything. And not till I got saved, until God pulled the scales off my eyes and I realized she didn't make me smoke that. It was my choice. Everything you do in life today, you got a choice. She's saved, and she's saved, and I have a daughter with her. She's in church and she's doing good. We the best of friends. Um, she's doing good. She's doing real good. She's
and
doing.
what about the friends that worked with you that knew what you were doing? You seem to have been close to them at that time. Where are they today?
I only My dad said, you mess with a crowd, I always been by myself. Always been myself. And the gentlemen that I had in my wedding, the 4 guys we grew up with. And that's one thing I can say about them. Through my addiction, they never turned their back on me. I never was close to many people, but a real friend is when you're down, when you're going through. A lot of when I got saved, that's when they started telling me, I seen your call with this place. I seen your call with this place. You used to have your call for him, but they never would tell me because they thought I would get mad with them and lose our relationship. And I said, no, man. I said, y'all looking out for me. So what would make you think I turn my back on you? You just looking out for me. But a lot of things they saw, but they never would tell me. So they never turned their back on me. They never treated me any different through the 19 years I was out here on crack cocaine. And when I got married, all of them was in my wedding. All 4 of them was my best man. And this other gentleman named Mike from Bryant County, where I taught football for the 12 under Recreation Center. He was in my wedding. But a friend is a friend when they with you through all the stuff that you go through. And they was with me. They never treated me any different. Besides the ones who was inside the church, they looked at me like I was a disease or something.
What was your relationship with your mother and your sisters? How were they reacting now? Your father has passed on, and your mom and your sisters know that you're being redeemed at this point. You're trying to give up this addiction. What kind of relationship did you have with them?
I never had a relationship with my mother. That's a sad thing to say. It was always me and my dad. All of us in the house together. Just like I said earlier, he said, teach them girls how to be girls, and I'm gonna teach Michael how to be a man. And it was just when we had the car wash, he always talking to me. I always was listening. Sometimes thought I wasn't listening, but I was listening. But me and my father, I'm gonna say me and my mother never had a relationship. I didn't have a relationship with my mother until I got saved. I did not have a relationship with my mother until I got saved.
And how old were you when you got saved?
41. No, wait a minute. 41. I was 40. I was 40 when I got saved. No. 40. Yes, ma'am. I was 40.
So from birth up till the age of 40ish, you had no relationship. Your relationship with your family was solely based on your dad.
on my dad. So when my dad passed, my friend left. It was like I was by myself. But I wasn't by myself. But my mother had, my four sisters, I could Sherman. I got along with all my sisters except Sherman. Me, that's the one that went in my room and found, that's can in my room. We never could get along. We never could get along. And we didn't get a relationship until my baby sister passed. My baby sister passed in '09, in Valentine's night, February 14th of 09. She passed. She died of smoke inhalation. My little 1-year-old nephew and her friend passed away in the house fire.
Well, Minister Howard, we looking like we're running out of time here, but we're going to come back with part 2 of Addicted and Saved by Grace. So we continue to talk about your addiction and inspire someone else who may be going through the same thing that you've already been through. So we ask that our listeners and our viewers stay tuned. Once again, I am the host, Patricia Wade Goings, of A Place Called Through, broadcasting live from WYTV7, Christian Broadcasters Network. We hope that you'll stay tuned with us. If you'd like to be our guest, share your testimony or your story, you may reach out to me, the host, Patricia Wade Goings, in area code of 843-608-9744. Or you may visit me on Facebook at A Place Called Through at Willpower, the Call to Rise Above. Or you may send me an email at pgoingswp@gmail.com. Again, I am the host, Patricia Wade Goings, broadcasting live from WYTV7, Christian Broadcasters Network. Stay tuned for part 2, Addicted to Crack, Saved by Grace.